join us for another episode of MANCODE, where real men have real conversations about leadership, relationship, morality, and dominion. Welcome to MANCODE.
Hey, I'm Jonathan. I'd like to welcome you back to the Man Code Conversation.
Let me go here. So the affair has been uncovered, and now it's time to face your mate. And sorry's not gonna cut it. You might have been sorry before, but you're done with that. Now, what should step one be to repairing the mess? Stomach all knotted up, you know you in for some crap, but it's all your fault. What do I do now?
Are you saying after saying I'm sorry, or after
No, this
after the
is when you're
apology?
facing it. This is when you're facing it down for the first time.
Okay. You said what's the first thing you should do?
Yes.
Honestly, I mean, it's as dirty and as comfortable as it is. I mean, if you're really serious about it, I mean, you just really just come forward, with it. Most times though, men that do that, either they have hit some major crisis where they know that they can't hide it anymore, like a pregnancy or a STD, or they know the person that they're with is getting ready to come forth with the information and they want to beat the person to the punch. Usually it's something traumatic, because it takes something like that sometimes to jolt a man out of that situation, to have them confront it. And so if you're put in that situation, I would just say, just be truthful with it. I mean, it's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. That loss is it's probable. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on your spouse. It depends on where your spouse is with what you're bringing forth to them. Who knows? They could, depending on the situation in your relationship, if things have been going left for a while, because we haven't even talked about what brings you to an act of an affair or infidelity in a relationship. So maybe the relationship has been tumultuous and both halves may have been dipping out, and you thinking it's just you, and y'all both have been, scheduling appointments. So you never know until you actually bring it forth. So I'm just going to say that the only thing you can do is, if you just trying to be real and upfront, it's just bringing it forth, the best way you possibly can. It's not going to ever sound great because it's infidelity. So.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I would look at it a couple of different ways. First of all, I'm going to take two approaches to it. First of all, if you want the relationship to last, this is the way I'll go. But if you don't, the easy way is, hey, but if you really want to last and you love the person, you want to stay with them, I look at it as like a 3-stage process. Could be more steps than that. But the first step is, like Daniel said, hey, you got to confess. Secondly, repent. If that don't work, third step, beg. I ain't too proud to beg, you know what I'm saying? Baby, please don't go. Don't
baby, please, baby,
please, because it sounds kind of funny, but relationship, if you really got a good woman is hard to find. You sure just don't want one to go because you made some mistakes. So I would really be serious, hey babe, I'm sorry, I blew it, and so forth. Will you forgive me? And I really want to stay here, and don't, hey, that's what I would suggest to you.
Pastor Malcolm, when you said that, I thought about that Sinbad, Sinbad's last special. He was like, I'm out here, trying to date these young women, and they don't know the signs of stroke. I'm gonna be up here like I need more medicine. And she was like, what you smiling at me for? He was like, I'm not smiling at you, I'm having a stroke. He was like, you out here trying to still be young and hanging out with these women, they don't know the signs. So I'm saying that to say his thing was that finding a good woman, a woman who knows you,
yeah,
and who has been with you, who knows the intimate and the ups and downs, to lose that, to go back out there and try to find another relationship like that again, that.
Oh man, when you had a good one, you lose her. Some people are still looking for that one. You may never find it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one you let go.
Yeah.
I'll leave it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my little short comment would be, to apologize. And if she felt a need to want to know what happened, be straightforward and sharing what happened, what led you to that. It could have been nothing. I'm not making excuses in saying this, but there could have been a strain on the relationship that may have been the trigger, but that's not an excuse,
Sounds like one.
But and then if she's willing to receive, share it with her. Confession is good for the soul. Get it out. Don't carry it around.
Oh, baby. So you're saying to a degree, oh, baby, we're going through a lot that, and I was just under a lot of pressure, and I just wasn't getting my needs met, and and all this. You think she want to hear that?
That line don't work.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, Austin. And I just have a question I want to ask.
No, I echo everything y'all said. Just, first off, swallow your pride. Like, realize that whatever backlash comes from it, you just got to take it. You just got to take it, because that's not worse than the act that you just committed. So just be prepared to receive whatever reaction you get, honestly.
Y'all. Oh, go ahead, Danielle. You had a question.
No, go ahead and finish. I mean, because this probably is going to take us someplace else.
All right. Well, I'll just speak personally. I've been in that situation. I got caught up in an affair, and honestly, my blow up happened after I was done. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's a month, a year, 2 years, 10 years. The fact of the matter is, you were dishonest. So, and all y'all laid out every step I had to take. I had to first off repent before God. I had to repent to my wife. I had to beg. Yeah, beg. I'm gonna say beg. You're right, Pastor Mark. Ain't too proud to beg. I had to beg because I broke a trust. I broke a heavy trust. I went from looking like a good dude and being a good dude and being talked up as a good man, being a jerk and being a clown. And that was all my fault. And I earned that. But the first thing is, you need to be upfront. I'm willing to answer anything. I mean, whatever she asks, you need to just be able to just sit there, and I don't care how embarrassing it is, because the thing is, just like we stated on the previous topic, you didn't think about that ahead of time when you were going through that. So now is the time to clean it up and try to make steps to go forward as best you can. And you better get some of God's help while you at it too.
Good, man. So you had an entanglement, huh?
Man, had a mess. Had a pot full of burnt gumbo, a mess.
Hey, Jonathan, you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
No, knock it out.
And Danielle, I know you were gonna ask some, but so my first one is like, so you said you cut ties with the person you were having an affair with. What led you to that place of cutting those ties? And then two, before like confessing to your wife, like what did you do to like muster up that courage to just go to her and tell her?
Okay. Oh, that was interesting. I didn't ask the S. That's where the story gets better. So go over your first one again. You had me running down a rabbit trail with the second part of that.
My bad. No, I said like what made you decide that you no longer wanted to have that affair?
Well, first off, I knew it was wrong the whole time. I'm gonna be honest, and I wasn't gonna leave my wife. So it was almost like somebody was trying to ultimatum you, and kind of really convince you that your situation was bad. My situation wasn't bad. My problem was I was greedy, and I was still arrogant, and that was mostly my problem. And I thought too highly of myself. And anytime you get in that situation, male or female, and you think you high and you still got it, and you let people buzz in your ear, yeah, that's gonna lead you down the wrong path. And go ahead with your second point.
And then my second point is what did you do to like really get that courage to go to your wife and just confess?
Okay, now this is where it gets interesting, because again, how the Bible says if you try to conceal a matter, it'll be revealed. Okay, so let's just be a warning to everybody. I was done with mine. I thought I had it all under wraps. I repented. This ain't none at all to my wife, because I'm like, you know what? I repented to God. I'm good. Just let this one ride. This is under the blood. But what is done in the dark will be brought to the light. So a short while after I had cut my ties and, said I'm done because I want to be committed to my wife got contacted. And from then on out, everything got spilled out. It was nowhere for me to turn a corner, tell her what they call a little white lie, none of that. Like I said, honesty was the only recourse I had because she had already been told everything anyway. So I would have really looked like a clown coming with a different set of stories, refuting something. So that's how my situation was.
Gotcha.
But Daniel, before you ask your question, can I add to that, please? I would like to say with that situation, it's good that you repented before God, but if that thing hadn't came out and she hadn't found out, the deal with that people have to know that even though you had not talked to your wife, that covenant has not been restored because you haven't gone to her. See, so that covenant piece is still broken. See, so you got to make that right. So I'm glad that you did, because you may think, okay, it didn't get out, I'm not in covenant and so forth, but at the end of the day, God is saying, hey man, you still gotta, you gotta make that thing right, man. You see, so
yeah,
but,
and that's a lot of weight. So you think about that, so you think about carrying that weight for a long amount of time. Man, that wears on your confidence as a man trying to conceal that. And that's I can say that about different areas where you try to keep secrets and keep things under wraps, but especially in that, man, that's a heavy one to weigh. That's a heavy one to wear. So that's how you see a lot of brothers, losing their hair. I cut mine off, but that's where you can see a lot of aging from the stressing, and because again, you're holding on to something that really is not natural for you at all. So,
and I gotta say this too. In regards to that too, because with that being said, and this is so critical from a spiritual standpoint, because your prayers are hindered. You see, you during that whole time period, your prayers are hindered. Because
I mean, I barely knew how to pray at that point, but at the same time, right. All right, Don, I think you had a question.
No, I was just going to just piggyback off of that. My pops, man, he had an 18-year-old secret that came to light, and unbeknownst to him, it came to light within inside of, his seed. It was like, he didn't know, well, actually he knew that my cousin was his cousin. My cousin didn't know who he was. And they were actually best friends in high school. And they were driving down the street past a location where my dad was doing some work. And my brother was like, my dad is over there working. And he was like, your dad ain't over there. The people over there is my uncle, my uncle and my two uncles. And, he was like, yeah. He was like, that's my dad. And he was like, what? Wow. And so now that secret now has been passed over to my cousin. My cousin couldn't handle that secret. So he went and told my mother's sister, who was his mom. And she called my dad and told my dad, if you don't tell her, I'm going to call her. I'm going to tell her. So that whole, what is done in the dark will come to light. You don't know in what ways those things will manifest. Right. Because no way in the world you would have created this perfect storm that your son, your biological son, and your nephew would be friends, and he would reveal your secret, on this particular day, But my question basically was that oftentimes when we are sharing the things that brought us to these places of infidelity, or stepping out or whatever, when somebody explains that to you, it sounds to me like people always hear that as an excuse. That's what even in this conversation, should we always put what somebody is sharing, which brought me to that place, as an excuse or a legitimate reason that I need to look at with inside of my relationship? Because I might have some issues in my relationship that is putting pressure on my spouse that we need counseling for, so that these matters don't manifest into something that we don't want to enter into our relationship. But we dispel it all the time as, oh, those are just excuses. Well, no, there could be some serious matters that are happening within inside of the relationship. I mean, it's an organic thing. You have two people coming together, blending their life together, and it's not always a harmonious, union. You have people who have a level of tolerance, and when you get past that level of tolerance, then you have regret, remorse, hatred, anger, bitterness. You have all these other things that start to fester and create because of these things. stepping out is just one manifestation of the things that happen within inside of that covenant.
Yeah,
I like that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say right quick, I agree 100% with what you said, Donnell, because that turns into another problem that you get to solve of, well, why did you feel like you couldn't talk to me about any of this stuff? And so now you're at a point where you're working on improving communication, working on improving being honest and being vulnerable, and working on improving like being able to receive tough information as well. So I appreciate that you said that.
I was just going to throw another wrench in the pot, you know, after you made the confession to her, what if she turns and has a confession for you?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah, that's the question.
Breaking my
That's
heart.
what I'm posing. What do you do?
Yeah, that's a rough one. So always think about your actions. You know, because again, everything's reciprocal, may not always be, but that hurt can go both ways. So always think about that. Be smart. Measure twice, cut once. I always pass that out now. Measure twice, cut once. I'm at to pay my man because I had a copyrighted saying. But let me go here. Let's say I've been honest and I've been in this situation again. So I want to hear y'all opinion on this too. I've been honest, but my honesty didn't satisfy my mate, and now they just done with me. You know, it's like, look, get your stuff. We not. I didn't sign up for all this. Pack your stuff, get out. What now? Are you at that point where it's like they don't want anything to do with you? You haven't spoken for a few days. You're trying to, you're trying. But what really can I do? What should I do? What else can I do?
Well, I would just say, you can just be patient. There's a lot of approaches you can take. You can say, okay, accept her at her word and leave, or you can fight for it. You can say, hey, look, dear, I want to hang in there for a while. Just give me another shot. And you can go to the Lord, ask God to heal her heart and touch her heart and all these types of things and so forth. But at the end of the day, if she's really settled on that, and she put that, like, before the marriage started, hey, if you ever cheat on me, I'm done. And this was clear, and there's no confusion about that. And she's serious, and that there's no turning around. You may just have to accept it. And if that was the case, I would just try to leave on good terms, that we can maybe remain friends, maybe, speak a blessing over her and wish the best for those types of things. And if it's done, just go. But if you see there's a hint of hope, fight for it,
I think if I were to answer that, if it was a wife, you would have to ask. I would personally ask, were kids involved? Because it's just not affecting you two. Now it's affecting others. So now the concentration has to be more on the whole picture versus just you and I. If she wants it, we have to make different, set a different standard, for the sake of the kids or those involved. But yeah, when she say it's over, first thing, hey, you could only blame yourself.
What would you say if the kids were there's no kids involved?
Oh, that's what I'm referring to. The last thing I spoke when I said if she doesn't want to be dealing with it, you got to, hey, thank you. I again apologize on your way out. If you can be friends, be friends. If not, you got to respect that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you gotta respect whatever choice that she decides to make, because the bottom line is that's a very disrespectful and evil act, honestly. And if she can't deal with the sight of seeing you, or like even in a situation where, like, say y'all get to a point where you do reconcile and y'all getting ready to make love for the first time, she might not be able to get out of her head that you were just doing this with another woman not too long ago. So it's just you gotta respect whatever choice she decides to make. At that point, the ball is in her court to do make whatever decision she wants to make. So
yeah, she Russell Westbrook in it. Ain't
facts.
passing that rock all day. Yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
right. You're right. Anybody else got anything to add on that? I had a snippet. But all right, I would say fight, and I agree with you 100%, Pastor Malcolm, on your first point. Fight, because you don't know if you're really losing something until you have to fight for it. And the thing is, you want to redeem yourself, and redeeming yourself may even be partly embarrassing to you. but swallow your pride and redeem yourself. It's not about begging. It's about showing that you are a different man. It's about showing that you see things different. Offer to do counseling. No, don't offer. Set up counseling.
Set up, yeah.
Set it up. Have it ready to go. Be like, look, I'm serious about this. She may blow you off a few times, but stay consistent. Don't stalk. Don't get thrown in jail. But stay consistent about being diligent. That I'm a new man, and I'm going to show you that. Now, if she just despicably done with you, then that's the cross you have to bear. But if there is anything left there, fight for that because it'll be worth it in the end. And you'll be a redemption story, and God will put His hand over that. But one last thing before we roll off, because we getting up in the time. Should I be offended? And this is something everybody can hit on. Should I be offended by being asked to give up my passcodes, my email access, having my phone? Should I be offended by that, or should I just be willing to be like, you know what? You should have had access to all this anyway. Go ahead. What should be my motto, my mantra to that?
No.
Because that's a big deal to a lot of men.
Oh,
no.
You got to give up the passcode to your phone. You got to give up, email access.
If I'm married, I have no problem.
You be building trust.
I have no problem with that. Here, I give it to her right now. Here, I'm open book.
Okay.
I thought your first comment was no.
Right?
Yeah, I did.
No.
All our eyes got big.
No, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah, you got everything. Yeah.
I say because you're one. What's yours is mine. Mine is yours. So we're all one in this. It's a package deal. We're all together. Shouldn't have any secrets. Going back to the first question. Shouldn't have any secrets. Be open and honest about everything from the start. You won't have any problems at the end when things get tough anyway.
Right. These are the conversations you should have from day one in dating. Truthfully, when you get to the point where you put a ring on her finger, she should have all access to all your stuff anyway.
Right.
Because you're past the dating stage. You're past the stage where you are, still the option is off. Hopefully, men ain't spending thousands of dollars on a ring and then, you still looking for options. I know that happens, but I'm saying, when you get to ring level, she should have access.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Definitely give it up, but make sure that it's done in a healthy way and her having that information is healthy too.
Vice versa.
Yeah, right. Because it could get to a point where it's like, it's stressful. You fishing for stuff. I've been clean for, how long? I never cheated, right? Or I may have cheated in the past, but if it gets to a point where it's starting to affect the quality of the relationship and y'all have moved past like that infidelity or whatever, then I think you got to sit down and have a conversation and say like, hey, I'm still giving you access to this stuff, but it's getting to a point where it's not healthy for our relationship. So you got to figure out how to improve your interaction with having this information.
So you're saying either that's an ultimatum, like either you trust me now or
no, I'm not saying it's an ultimatum, but I do think if it goes too far, I think that a conversation needs to be had.
Okay. Like if she messes with your work email or something like that?
Not even that. Like I said, if it starts to put a strain, her having that information starts to put a strain on the relationship, then have that conversation of like, how you having this information, like, why is it stressing you out so much? Like, what can I do to further give you like the validation that I'm not messing up, that I'm being trustworthy, and but never like change passwords or anything. Still allow access, but have that conversation. Like I said, if it gets to a point where it's not healthy, it's not conducive anymore.
Okay. I would even say start over. Get rid of all your old stuff. That way you cut off that access. If it was a situation like that, get a new number. Now, I'm not saying go get a regular phone and then a side burner. And I'm not saying set up,
no Kevin Durant.
No, that's just leading you into the same trap. Because just to give yourself that same window of access, it's like having the window open and your neighbor likes to dress in the window every night. And at that exact time you got that opportunity. That's all you're doing is giving yourself an opportunity. Don't do that. What I'm saying is start fresh. You know, get a new number. Oh, nobody can get you on that. Get a new face. Matter of fact, if you're on social media and it's prime on social media, stay off of it. Or actually give yourself a window of time to heal from that and then reestablish yourself on that later, but with boundaries. The most important thing I think guys miss is I need boundaries in my life at this point. I'm already on thin ice. You know, we're saying hypothetically in my situation, I was blessed to be let back in. But let's say hypothetically, you've been let back in. So realize what you want. You on thin ice. You don't have much room to play with here. And you're trying to rebuild something that's broken. So you're laying a new foundation. You're laying new groundwork, new walls, everything. Because I gotta show that I am a different man than the one that I was pretending to be before. That's you don't get no realer than that. So I guess we done chopped it up about this snuff, viewing audience. I hope y'all really took a lot from this. Go back in. If you need to rewind things, take notes. I definitely advise. My brothers have been really giving out some great advice. Hopefully my story has been a blessing and a testimony to somebody. And just again, if reach out to us, drop something in the comments if you have anything and we can hit you back. But we just want to thank you for just tuning in to this first episode of season 3 of MANCODE. We're all excited to be back. We'll be dropping another one real soon, so definitely stay on the alert. Turn on your notifications. Like the video. Share the video. Talk up the video. Somebody in your world needs to hear this. Somebody in your world needs to be spared some calamity. Just making a wrong decision, a wrong way of thinking. But as always, we thank you for just taking the time to have this conversation with us. And until we do this again, keep the man code.